As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and crimson, a worn sign creaked ominously in the evening breeze. The sign, Mabel's Diner, flickered with a feeble light, barely illuminating the crumbling facade of the establishment that once bustled with life. Now, it was a ghostly reminder of better days, standing defiantly in a town where dreams had faded like the peeling paint on its walls. Amelia Thompson stood at the entrance, her heart racing as she stared into the dimly lit diner. A single mom struggling to make ends meet, she had recently inherited this condemned relic from a distant relative she had never met. The inheritance had come with a catch, however. It was hers for just $200. At first, Amelia had considered it a cruel joke, but desperation for a change in her life drove her to accept the offer. $200 for a rundown diner? How bad can it be? She had thought, her mind set on the idea of potentially turning the place around. But now, standing on the threshold of the diner, she was consumed by doubt. The air was thick with the musty scent of decay, and the shadows seemed to whisper secrets of despair. Behind her, the weight of her reality pressed down. Her son, Tommy, only 8 years old, was in desperate need of stability after the turbulent years of their lives. Amelia had fought tooth and nail to provide for him since her husband left, but the odds were always stacked against them. They needed more than just survival. They needed hope. And hope, as it turned out, was shackled to this dilapidated diner. As she pushed the door open, it let out a mournful groan, and a rush of stale air enveloped her. Inside, the diner was a time capsule stuck in the 1950s. A jukebox standing silent in the corner, chrome diner stools rusting away, and a counter lined with dusty coffee cups. It was as if the world outside had forgotten it existed. Amelia stepped further in, feeling an inexplicable pull towards the past. But she was not alone in her pursuit of this forgotten establishment. Tomas Rivera, a local businessman with a reputation for exploiting the town's neglected properties, had also set his sights on Mabel's Diner. He believed that this decrepit building held untapped potential, a potential he was determined to exploit for his own gain. Tomas was not known for playing fair. He would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. The conflict simmering between them was palpable. While Amelia sought to revive the diner as a place of warmth and community, Tomas aimed to buy the property at a bargain price and transform it into yet another chain restaurant, stripping away its soul. Their paths were destined to collide, and Amelia knew that time was running out. As she walked further inside, a soft thud echoed from the back room, sending a chill down her spine. She paused, her heart pounding in her chest. The sound was jarring in the stillness, a reminder that she was not alone in this forsaken place. Curiosity won over fear, and Amelia ventured towards the sound, her footsteps echoing on the tiled floor. She pushed through a door marked Employees Only, half expecting to find a vagrant or a rat. Instead, her eyes widened as she beheld an ancient freezer tucked away in the corner, covered in dust and grime. It stood out against the faded backdrop of the diner, like a secret waiting to be uncovered. "What on earth is this doing here?" she murmured to herself, wiping away the layer of dust on the freezer's surface. Her fingers brushed against the handle, and a thrill surged through her. She hesitated for a moment, weighing the consequences of opening it. But the need for answers outweighed the fear of the unknown. With a deep breath, she pulled the handle down, and the heavy door creaked open, releasing a wave of icy air that sent shivers down her spine. Inside, the freezer was filled with an array of forgotten items. Old meat packages, frost-covered containers, and, buried beneath it all, something that glimmered in the dim light. Amelia reached. Inside, her heart racing as she unearthed a small, weathered box. The box was unassuming at first glance, but as she flipped it open, her breath caught in her throat. Stacks of neatly bundled bonds lay within, their value written in bold letters. $127 million. A cold sweat broke out on her brow as she realized the implications of her discovery. Could it be possible? How had these bonds ended up in a condemned diner? A myriad of questions raced through her mind as the enormity of the moment sank in. Not only did this change everything for her and Tommy, but it also put her squarely in Tomas Rivera's sights. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside, jolting Amelia from her reverie. She closed the freezer door with a firm heartbeat echoing in her ears. Whatever was happening outside could spell trouble for her newfound treasure. She could feel the weight of fate resting heavily on her shoulders, the stakes higher than ever. What would Tomas do if he found out? Clutching the box tightly to her chest, Amelia made her way back towards the front of the diner, determination igniting within her. She had to protect this secret, and she had to do it fast. As she stepped back into the diner's main area, a shadow loomed outside, silhouetted against the fading light. Was it Tomas? Her heart raced, the battle lines drawn clearly in the sand. In that moment, Amelia knew that survival was no longer just about her and Tommy. It was about claiming a future that had seemed impossible mere moments ago. But with danger closing in, would she be able to secure her legacy, or would she lose everything? Amelia's heart raced as she stood in the oppressive silence of the condemned diner, the weight of Tomas's presence filling the air like a thick fog. The once vibrant space, now dulled by years of neglect, felt like a battleground. Dust motes danced in the faded sunlight filtering through broken windows, but her focus was entirely on Tomas, his eyes glinting like knives as he stared her down. "What do you think you're doing here, Amelia?" Tomas's voice dripped with mockery, but beneath it lay a simmering menace. "You really think you can take what's mine?" Amelia squared her shoulders, the resolve hardening within her. "This diner is my inheritance, Tomas. You can't just waltz in here and claim it for yourself. You have no rights over it." A cruel smile creased Tomas's features. "You don't know how the world works, do you? Those bonds you found are worth more than you can imagine. And trust me, I've got people who don't take kindly to anyone getting in their way." Suddenly, the weight of his threats pressed down on her like a physical force. She had heard whispers of Tomas's connections, unsavory characters who wouldn't hesitate to take what they wanted, leaving devastation in their wake. But Amelia couldn't back down now. She had fought too long for this dream, for her son's future. "I won't let you intimidate me," Amelia replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "I've got something you don't hope. You might have power now, but this diner is a symbol of new beginnings for me and my son." Tomas laughed, a cold, empty sound that echoed through the wreckage of the diner. "Hope? That's cute. But dreams don't pay the bills, sweetheart. And when I'm through with you, you'll be left with nothing but dust and memories." As he stepped closer, Amelia felt a surge of adrenaline. She needed to think fast. The secret freezer had changed everything, and she had to protect it, protect Tommy. "Why don't we make a deal?" she suggested, trying to buy time. "You help me fix up the diner and we can share the profits. Could be a win-win." Tomas's eyes narrowed, suspicion flickering across his face. "And what's stopping me from taking everything for myself? Because I know your secret, Tomas?" Amelia shot back, surprising even herself with the boldness of her words. "I've heard things, the people you owe, the threats you've made. You're not as untouchable as you think." His expression shifted, anger flaring in his eyes, but Amelia pressed on. "You can't get rid of me without consequences. This diner is my lifeline, and I'll fight for it. If you want a piece of the action, you'll have to play nice." The tension crackled between them. The air was thick with unresolved conflict. Tomas studied her for a long moment, weighing his options. Finally, he broke into a humorless smile. "You might have more fight in you than I expected, Amelia. But this isn't over between us. Not by a long shot." With that, he turned and strode towards the door. Just as he reached for the handle, he paused and glanced back over his shoulder. "I'll give you a week to think about my offer. If you refuse, I won't be responsible for what happens next. As the door swung shut behind him, Amelia felt the full weight of what she was up against. She had managed to hold her ground, but the battle was far from won. The diner was a wreck, and she had no idea how she could fix it up in that time, let alone fend off Tomas's threats. Her mind raced as she moved through the diner, flicking on the overhead lights, which sputtered weakly to life, illuminating the faded booths and cracked tiles. The diner was haunted by the ghosts of its former life, and the stories it could tell felt overwhelming. But she couldn't afford to dwell on the past. She had to focus on the future. Amelia knelt by the secret freezer, her heart pounding as she opened it, exposing the hidden treasure within. The sturdy bonds lay nestled among layers of ice, untouched by the decay surrounding them. She could hardly believe her luck. With such a fortune at her fingertips, she could finally build a life for herself and Tommy, far away from the shadows of Tomas. But then the nagging thought crept back in. Was it worth the risk? Tomas had connections that ran deep, and if he truly wanted the bonds, there was no telling how far he would go to claim them. Amelia felt a chill shoot down her spine as she reconsidered her options. She knew she needed allies, someone who could help her navigate this treacherous path. Just then, the memory of her old friend Sarah flickered in her mind. They had lost touch over the years, but Sarah had always been the resourceful type, good with finances and well-connected. Perhaps she could help Amelia devise a plan. Gathering her resolve, Amelia pulled out her phone and began to text Sarah, outlining her situation and asking for a meeting. She hit send, her mind racing with the possibilities. If she could get Sarah on her side, they might stand a chance against Tomas. But as her phone buzzed back with a reply, Amelia's heart sank. I'm sorry, Amelia. I can't help right now. I'm dealing with my own crisis. Good luck. The words felt like a dagger to her hopes, and she slumped against the counter, feeling utterly alone. Outside, the sun dipped low in the sky, casting shadows across the diner's worn exterior. The golden light seemed to mock her as the reality of her situation set in. Tomas was relentless, and without a solid plan, she risked losing everything: a life, a future, and the only hope she had left for Tommy. Amelia took a deep breath, steeling herself. She couldn't let fear choke her ambitions. She needed to think, to strategize. Time was running out, and with Tomas waiting in the wings, the stakes were higher than ever. She had to secure her legacy and protect her son, no matter the cost. The diner was more than a building. It was their hope, their future, and she would fight for it with everything she had. Amelia stood in the dimly lit diner, her heart pounding as she faced Tomas, the man who had tried to manipulate her dreams and ambitions into dust. The air was thick with tension, a palpable reminder of the stakes. Outside, the neon sign flickered intermittently, casting odd shadows on the once vibrant walls, which had seen countless memories created within their confines. "What do you want from me, Tomas?" Amelia demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos swirling within her. She had fought too hard to let this man walk all over her and her newfound legacy. The $127 million in bonds hidden within the secret freezer was now her lifeline, a promise of a secure future for her and her son, Oliver. Tomas smirked, a calculated look in his eyes. "It's simple, Amelia. You hand over the bonds, and I ensure this place remains standing. I have the connections to make your life easier, and you can forget about the court battles and the threats. You don't want the diner to be torn down, do you?" "They're mine," Amelia shot back, burning with determination. "You think you can scare me into giving them up? This diner is my legacy, my son's future. I will not let you take that away from us." Tomas took a step closer, his voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper. "You're in over your head. These bonds are worth more than your wildest dreams. Think about what you could do with all that money. You could start fresh. Leave this place behind." "No," Amelia replied, her resolve hardening. This diner is more than just bricks and money. It's a part of me, a part of Oliver. I refuse to let you exploit that. With a flick of her wrist, Amelia pulled out a document she had prepared earlier. I've been in contact with a lawyer. This diner is registered in my name now, and I will fight for it in court if it comes to that. Tomas's expression shifted from arrogance to anger, fury bubbling beneath the surface. You really think you can win? You don't understand the game you're playing. He leaned in closer, menace in his tone. I will destroy you if you don't comply. Then let's see who's stronger, Amelia replied, her voice firm. I'm not afraid of you, Tomas. I've faced worse battles than you'll ever know. The standoff reached a boiling point, and both Amelia and Tomas felt the weight of their choices hanging in the air. Suddenly, the diner's back door swung open, and Oliver rushed inside, wide-eyed and panicked. Mom, what's happening? He asked, catching sight of Tomas and sensing the tension. Amelia immediately knelt down to her son's level, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. It's okay, sweetheart. Just a little disagreement. You don't need to worry. But Tomas took a step back, allowing himself to regain composure. See? You're already dragging your son into this mess. Amelia, think about your family. You have to consider what's best for him. Your threat means nothing to me. Amelia shot back, standing tall. What's best for Oliver is this diner, our home. Not a life hiding and running from someone like you. A moment of silence hung before Tomas finally turned, his plans unraveling. You think this is over? I won't stop until I take what's mine. He stepped out, leaving the diner behind, but not without casting one last glare at Amelia, an ominous promise lingering in his eyes. Hours later, Amelia and Oliver sat together at a booth, the diner quiet except for the sound of the occasional creak of the old building settling. Mom, are we really safe? Oliver asked, his small face betraying the worry that lingered in his mind. Yes, love, Amelia said softly, wrapping an arm around him. For now, yes, we have a long road ahead to secure our future, but we'll do it together. In the following months, Amelia worked tirelessly to restore the diner. She enlisted the help of old friends and loyal patrons who were eager to see the diner thrive again. They painted the walls, cleaned out the kitchen, and brought life back to the once neglected establishment. The diner became a hub again, filled with laughter and the sound of clinking dishes, a sanctuary that brought the community together. As the diner flourished, so did Amelia's confidence. She started to save a portion of the profits for Oliver's education, ensuring he would have a future unburdened by the struggles she faced. She became a symbol of resilience in the community, inspiring other single parents to believe in their dreams and aspirations. Years passed, and the diner became a beloved landmark. Amelia had transformed it into a successful business, and her relationship with Oliver deepened as they celebrated their milestones together. Every year, on the anniversary of the diner's revival, they held a small celebration to honor their journey and resilience. Yet, the shadow of Tomas lingered. He never truly disappeared from their lives. There were whispers and attempts to undermine Amelia's success, but she had built a network of support around her. Each challenge only made her more determined, and the scars from her past became reminders of how far she had come. As she looked around the diner one quiet evening, she spotted Oliver helping a customer. The smile on his face radiated joy. It was a reflection of the life Amelia had fought for. She knew the journey had been arduous, but it had been worth every moment. In that instant, she realized that the diner was not just a building or a business. It was a testament to resilience, hope, and family. Amelia had not only secured a future for herself and Oliver, but she had also created a legacy that would inspire generations to come.